What reasons would you have for coming to Alexander? Have you got any particular aches or pains or sensations that are uncomfortable?
Yeah, when I'm stressed, of course, my cheekbones are a bit tight.
So when you get stressed, you get a little bit tight around here, neck and shoulders.
That's mainly it.
Those are your main areas. They're very much centered. That stress makes you react around here, and things get tight or painful. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you tried anything to help in those?
Yoga.
Yes. How does that help?
Meditation. Yeah, it's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else that's helpful?
Yoga, meditation.
Meditation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you meditate as a practice every day?
Not every day. No. Whenever I feel like.
Yeah. And does it? And it quietens you down.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah. And it resolves.
And also, it really helps me to focus on the breath and the pain I have in certain areas.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay.
Try to release them. It doesn't always work, but sometimes.
Sometimes it does work.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. What do you know about the Alexander technique? Apart
Not
from
much. I mean, I've heard a lot, but it's really hard to picture
Yeah.
how that's like. So
you're going to have a hands-on,
a
a proper experience.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So what we're going to do is you're going to be worked with by me, and I'm going to take you through the ropes. So we'll start off with you standing in front of this stool, and I'm going to. Then you can look out of the window at the nice view.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is I'm going to work with you. I'm going to put my hands on you, and I might move an arm, I might move your head. And as far as possible, you let me do the moving.
Okay, great.
And of course, you might want to take over. You might want to initiate movements, head and shoulders and arms. And just do the best you can, not to do very much at all.
Okay.
All right? And the movements I don't do anything like osteopathy. I won't do any clicks. I won't do anything sudden. I'm just going to do very simple, everyday movements and guide you. And anything I need you to do, I'll ask you to do it. So right now, I'm going to ask you to put your feet a little bit wider apart. Fine. And the stool is underneath you, it's behind you, and I won't take it away. I won't do that trick.
Okay.
And that's the first thing I'm doing for you. I'm moving your head left and right. I might move it up and down. And if you have any questions or interesting sensations that happen as a result of what we're doing, feel free to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Have you come in with any aches or pains in that part of you today? Anything
Just
that's a bit uncomfortable?
Bit, but not much today.
Not much. So this area here is a bit uncomfortable. Okay. So now it's getting to the point where I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm going to ask you to take the hips back a little at the same time as bending your knees so that you go towards the stool. That's exactly it. Bend the knees all the way until you hit the stool. Yeah. When you get there, stop for a while. And I'm going to take you forwards. Yeah. And now I'm going to take the whole of your body backwards, the whole of you from your hips. And now I'm going to take all of you forwards. And I'm going to take all of you back. And now you're staying very still in your neck and back. And all I want now from you, and this isn't easy, but I want you to just stand up with your heels. Yes, that's it. Stand up now. That's it. And bend the knees. All the way to the stool, and then stand up again, heels. And bend the knees. The reason I say heels rather than stand up by itself is because most people stand up by pushing with the toes, and they often forget about the heels. So I want you to remember you've got all of your feet on the floor, and all of it's going to be used. Hips back and bend the knees again. And then stand up with your heels again. That's it, and then bend the knees. And then heels again. And bend the knees again. And then heels. And It is. Which muscles is it working quite hard?
Well, that one there.
Yeah, the front of your legs, your quads, yeah, and heels. That's it. Which muscles isn't it working hard?
The upper body, I guess.
Correct. Everything in hips upwards weren't doing anything, were they? And that's a bit strange. Yeah. I'm not sure if you realise it or not, but most people, when they sit and stand and talk and walk, use everything in their upper body, including face and jaw.
Yeah.
And yes, they'll be doing something lower down, but it usually goes hand in hand with a lot of extra going-ons around the face and jaw and mouth and neck and shoulders.
Yeah.
And this time, you registered something interesting, that your legs were doing something, as you said, getting some exercise.
They're still a little bit bended, is it?
Well, you can bend them and straighten them, it doesn't matter to me. Bend the knees, all the way. Yeah, and then stay there for a while. So you can see you're not doing anything in the neck and shoulder area, and stand up again. And then bend the knees again. And then heels again. And bend the knees again. And then heels. And bend the knees again. And heels. And bend the knees. What's it like to move like this without doing very much from hips upwards? Does it feel very strange?
Yes and no, but also very light, very satisfying.
Very light and satisfying. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think it is satisfying to move very gracefully.
I don't feel any tension here in the back at all.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yes, and so that's the way the technique works, by preventing you using all of this stuff around here to sit and stand or talk or think or do computer work, rather than just with the fingers, with all the animation of the eyes and face and jaw.
I haven't used the arms and fingers at all, because normally you would just
You would.
grab.
They would, and people do. They grab when they sit, they grab when they stand, they grab when they walk, they grab when they're thinking. Everything gets grabby.
Yeah.
And right now you had a, what did you call it? Satisfying and smooth or something. What was it? That's a nice description. Satisfying and smooth, whatever. And now take the hips back again. Yeah. And then heels. And then bend the knees. And you can see your arms aren't participating either, are they?
No.
Bend the knees. And heels. And bend the knees again. And then heels. I think you said light and satisfying.
Yeah, light and satisfying, yeah. Well, smooth also works for me.
Good. Yes, it is a smoother movement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Heels. And then bend the knees again. And heels. And bend the knees again. And heels. And bend the knees again. And then heels.
And it gets more neutral once it's
More neutral.
Yeah.
That's an interesting word as well. Where's that one from? Is that from the acting world?
No.
Where's it from?
I don't know.
It's a great word, neutral. Yeah. So what does it mean for you when you say?
So it's just I get used to it.
Yes, you get into
becomes
this.
normal, you know.
That's right. You get into the swing of things, and you don't have to. You're not thinking about
Yeah.
it. It's happening almost naturally by itself. And that's when Alexander's working at its best. It's not something you want to be thinking about anyway.
Yeah.
It wants to be happening naturally and automatically, rather than overly worked out and computed, because that wouldn't do you any good. So let me move you forwards and stop. Let me move you backwards. So what's your sensation around your face, neck and jaw right now as you're sitting and standing and moving?
I don't feel much, to be
And
fair.
heels.
I don't feel any tension or pain.
Right. So you can feel it's a bit softer around this area already.
Yeah.
And then heels into the ground. That's it. Good. You can stand up now. Perfect. So maybe it's a time to introduce an idea to you. Hips back and bend the knees while we're working. So a lot of therapeutic systems, like very good ones, like massage or osteopathy or whatever, they'll target a part and get rid of some tension. Maybe a hot bath might do that, or a glass of wine. It'll just,
I had too many last night. Okay.
Did it work?
Well, to a certain extent, yeah, but not in the morning.
So, yeah, I'm not against that. So here we're doing something a bit different. Rather than actually targeting the area and doing something to release it through alcohol or through a massage or something or an acupuncture needle or whatever it is, The reason that you're getting freer and freer isn't by trying to relax it or push it, but by not amplifying the stress there. By not doing something extra, then it undoes itself.
Yeah.
So it's a different way of thinking about how we get better. In Alexander, it's about preventing something getting worse, and then it gets better by itself, which is a very strange idea, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Rather than, oh, you've got a little bit of tension there, let's see if we can get rid of it and fix it.
Yeah.
Right now, as you're quietening down and not going into a stress way of sitting and standing with your neck and shoulders and face and jaw, when you don't do that, when you stop this wrong pattern or jumpy pattern, then the right thing does itself, which is it releases you by itself, without your effort. Let me take you forwards. And let me take you further forwards. That's it. And then wait there for a while, and then stand up with your heels. And then bend the knees again. That's fine. That's it. And then stand up with the heels again. And bend the knees again. Any other comments about your experience? What's your brain up to? Bend the knees. What's your mind up to?
Nothing really. Right now I'm just like enjoying relaxing.
Enjoying relaxing. Yes. Yeah. So your brain is in a different condition than everyday condition, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
And also since you're leading me, there's not much for me to think of.
Correct. You're not worrying about having to get anything right and to do something. Your brain is having a bit of a holiday.
Right.
And one way of looking at the technique is actually to help you have a holiday in your brain, because it's the brain that makes the stress, as you probably know in life.
Yeah.
It makes everything rigid and tight. And when your brain is having a holiday and there's no big responsibility on your shoulders, you can let go of the trying brain and you move into the relaxed brain. Bend the knees. And I'm going to move you. That's fine. I'm going to move you backwards. That's it. I'm going to move you forwards and stop. Wait. Can you sense how you still haven't done anything in your neck and shoulders? You're not creating any extra tension.
No.
And you stay with not doing anything, and you stand with your heels. Yeah. And bend the knees. And heels. And bend the knees. How are your legs coping with all of this? Heels. They're getting...
No, actually they're getting warm now. I don't feel any tension anymore. At the beginning I felt...
You got used to it?
Yeah.
Yes, fine. So you've done about 30 or 40 sittings and standings, and you're not exactly out of breath, are you? Which is another way of you understanding that things are very efficient.
German efficiency.
Yes. And then hips back and bend the knees. That's good. And then stop, and I'll take you back. And now the same thing here, I'm going to take an arm. I've got the weight of your arm. What do you spend most of the day doing? Do you sit at a computer screen all
No,
day?
it really depends. I'm standing quite often. Computer as well.
Yeah.
And running around.
I mean stressfully running around, or just...
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
As in rushing around?
Yeah, rushing around, yeah.
So you can see, even though my hands are here and I'm moving you over here, your neck isn't getting involved, is it?
No.
And you see, and you're here, you're not getting involved. Your neck's not getting involved in the movement. It's not getting involved as you're talking to me.
No.
You're not talking with your neck. You're not thinking with your neck. And then, a bit more difficult, but the same principle, can you stand up? Heels. That was also without your neck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Bend the knees. Heels. And then bend the knees again. And heels. And then walk around a little bit. Yes, maybe walk to the mirror and back again quite quickly, and then come back to the stool. Yeah. And back here. Good. And did you find that you were walking also without these stress patterns of your neck and shoulders?
Yeah,
as well?
definitely. The upper body was definitely loose, just like hanging around.
felt much freer and
Yeah.
out of the way. Yeah. So sitting, standing, walking, thinking, working,
Yeah.
sport, it can all be done with a quality of mind and body that's easy or easier
Yeah.
rather than reactive and stressful.
Yeah.
And that's what you're learning right now. You're learning to keep your mind and body in a quiet and relaxed gear while life happens. So I'm moving you forwards. It's the same thing here. The same thing if I take you over to the right or over to the left. And you can also see it's not about having a good posture. It's
Yeah.
not.
Is there a reason why I look more towards this side than this side?
No, not really. You can have a look over here. It's just that right now it's just there's a window out there and it's nice to look out on a bit of sunshine. And right over there you've got all the scaffolding, London scaffolding.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a nicer view when you have a bit of blue sky.
Great.
Because if you like the scaffolding, you can look over there.
No, thanks.
So I'm going to move you forwards. And you can see the hands are really talking to you all the time and they're saying you don't have to give yourself a whiplash.
Yeah.
You don't have to jump with your neck and face and jaw and shoulders. So are these still out of the way? Your shoulders and neck are still feeling freer?
Yeah.
Great. And then wait there, stop. And then stand up again with the heels. Fantastic. And now, another activity. Go onto the tip of your toes. And even higher. And then come down to the heels. And then go onto the tip of your toes. And then come down to the heels. And then go onto the tip of your toes. And then come down to the heels and stop. So even that demand, being slightly off balance, you also weren't utilising the tension patterns of your face, jaw, neck, shoulders.
Yeah.
Could you feel that?
Yeah.
So that's your barometer of whether you're in an okay condition. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That if you were not in an okay condition of mind, body, if you were not relaxed, then you'd feel it somewhere in your neck, face, jaw, eyes, mouth.
It really reminds me of yoga. I mean, you also do positions where you just like one leg and...
That's right. And the whole point about doing things on one leg or going into difficult, demanding poses is to maintain a meditative state of mind and body while all of that is happening. So I think there's overlap between good yoga when it's done nicely and what we're doing here. But I don't think there's any overlap with ambitious yoga when people are trying to get their legs around their necks and ambitious efforts to try and copy what the person at the front is doing, and then they can get themselves into a right pickle. So the stool's right behind you, and then I want you to bend the knees again. That's fine. And then you're here, and then heels again. Yes. And then bend the knees again. And then heels. Yes. And then walk around, and then I think what we'll do, walk quite quickly. Yeah. And then come back. And what we'll do is have your shoes off. We're going to do some table work. So Alexander lessons include table work, which is
interesting.
It is interesting. It's another dimension. It's a continuity of what we're doing in the chair, but with you having an even easier time.
Yeah.
So you get yourself into the centre of the. Your head is going to be on the books here. You get yourself into the centre, round about. Yeah, coming back a little bit, so your head's going to touch the books. Perfect. Yeah. And I've got the weight of your head. That's fine. Yeah. So I'm going to do the hard work as usual. I lift up your head, and you, to the best of your ability, leave me to do the movements, and you don't need to help me with any lifting, whether it's an arm or a leg or a head, okay? Any thoughts or observations or questions coming in?
It's very interesting how you position the arms, and it actually makes sense because my muscles feel a little bit more relaxed.
Exactly, yes. So
It's not like I don't need to, there's no tension to just hold on.
I think you said something very important, because most people, when they initially lie down, they're still holding on to themselves in certain ways.
Yeah.
Their necks, their shoulders, their arms, even at rest. They think they're at rest. You think you're doing nothing, but actually, most people, even at rest, lying down, are still quite held. Often in the lower back, it's pulled away from the ground. And we don't realise it until someone says, oh goodness, there's a big gap here.
Yeah.
And after a while, that can drop. And it's the same thing with the arms, really. We're doing stuff that doesn't need to be done when you really let go. And what you're also saying is that most of these things are unconscious. You don't realise it until you have a new experience. And then you say, as you said just now, oh goodness, my arms are much more released and relaxed right now. Yeah. But beforehand, when you started to lie down, you didn't realise that they were held.
I think, you have to experience one.
You have to experience the change, and then you know, goodness, I must have been a bit held beforehand. And that's what people do. They carry around all sorts of habitual patterns of holding that they don't realise until they have another experience. That's just normal. It's their everyday. So if you ask most people, how do you feel? They won't say, oh goodness, I feel I'm really doing this and that and the other in my body. They'll say, I'm okay, a bit of an ache here, but I'm normal. But then they have another experience like you're having, and then it's a different description. It's smoother, it's lighter, it's satisfying, it's relaxed. The satisfying description is also interesting, because actually we're designed so that movement should be satisfying. Normal everyday movement should be a pleasure. But for most of us it's a bit of a chore.
I mean, even sometimes when you receive massage, you should think it's satisfying, but actually you cramp because there's pain involved and you don't really release.
Well, some massages just pummel you, don't they? It's not necessarily a pleasure. Maybe gentle massage that you can almost go to sleep with nice music and nice smelling oils. But yes, movement, just every day, like children enjoy movement. Little children enjoy movement. They enjoy exploring their bodies. It's a pleasure. And we lose that when we get a bit older. We've got all sorts of habits of tension that feel normal, and we realise that it doesn't have to be like that when you have an Alexander session. That actually you can recover movement being a pleasure again. It can be satisfying. What do you feel just happened just then?
I mean, I definitely feel a difference between this shoulder and this shoulder.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
This one is super loose now.
Super loose.
Yeah, and then I can feel that the shoulder blade is flat on.
That's right.
On the polster.
It's gone more into gravity. It's dropped.
Yeah, and this one has a gap there.
Still holding a little bit. That's true. Yeah. It's the same thing with the legs. In fact, it's the same thing with the whole of the body. There's all sorts of unconscious ways of holding that just feel so normal that we can't let go of them unless we're guided.
Yeah, and sometimes I do feel like how tight sometimes my bum muscles are.
Yes, and we carry that. We're not quite sure what it means, but you feel the tightness. But right now you've let go very, very effectively around here. Let me have the weight of your leg. So I've got the weight of your leg, and you can sense how you're just giving up around your hip as well. Can you feel that?
I mean, my leg feels super light.
Super light. It is super light. And it's super light for me when you're not holding, like you're not holding now. So it's really, really easy for me to move you because you're not holding in there. If you were holding, I would feel it much heavier for me too. So your head also feels super light to me too.
Great.
Because you're not doing anything here in the neck and shoulders. So gravity's working on you right now. This is gravity work.
Mm-hmm.
It's also homework. You can do it on your own. You can lie down on the floor with your knees up, and for you, this many paperback books under your head, and practice letting gravity give you a lesson.
Okay.
Not me, but gravity. And after a while, it may not happen as quickly as it is here, but if you just wait without trying to force anything, and leave yourself available for gravity to work on you, which it has to anyway, because gravity exists. Bit by bit, you'll find your neck, your shoulders, your lower back, your hips, your lower legs will participate in the letting go into gravity.
Yeah.
You'll surrender. You'll surrender fighting and trying and all the holding things that you normally hold on to. You'll find that they start to melt. Any other questions popping in?
No, I think.
No. Is it reasonably
Quite
easy?
interesting that you repositioned my feet because I never really pay attention to my feet.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense.
What does it feel like when I move your legs? What does it feel like is happening? So yes, I'm lifting up your foot and putting it down again. And lifting it up again and putting it down again.
No, I feel more grounded.
More grounded, yes.
Just,
yes. I think that's.
I tend to do this, I think.
That's right. You do. You do stuff from the hips downwards that would unground you.
Yeah.
You'd hold like this,
Yeah.
and when I lift up your legs and
Yeah.
let them go, you realise that they are naturally grounded. So it's a good word, grounded. That they're just nicely connecting to the ground, but they're not clawing away from the ground. They're resting. And it's that letting go, resting, that you could say you're grounded, not just with your feet, you're grounded all the way through your back. That's also ground. And that's ground. And that's ground. That's ground. And your head on the books is ground. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All of you is participating in letting go into gravity. Of course your feet, but everything else at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's a nice feeling, that sense of ground, isn't it? It's very secure.
Yeah.
And most of us actually, without realising it, go around all day feeling very ungrounded, but we don't realise what's going on. That's just the natural. It's the everyday, this state of constant anxiety and pulled away from our ground of being. And it's very, very habitual, so it doesn't usually enter consciousness, but we know that we're not quite okay. We don't feel here.
Yeah. That's true. So when would you just lie down, like in the morning or each time when you feel
whenever you have 5 minutes or so, or a quarter of an hour. Some people might lie down for a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes in the middle of the day, some just before they go to bed, some might have a bit more time in the morning. But it's just it's practice. It's a practice of discovering how we're often not really surrendering to gravity. And it's practice of stilling the mind and body, stilling the mind and body into this condition of ease. So if I said to you, what do you see as the connection between mind and body in this experience, what would you say?
At the moment, I don't really think that much. I just let go.
Yes. You've just let go. You have.
But it's a good experience to see how it can feel like, in order to know not what I'm aiming for, but just to know how it feels like to let go.
Yeah. And I think,
guess it takes maybe, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to a state I can do it myself.
well, that's it. So obviously you have a one-off lesson like this and you experience the letting go. And then through practice, some on your own, when you're practicing, and then after a series of lessons, you have more of a capacity to come back to your own state of mind-body ease without so much guidance from a teacher. And that's a learning process. It accumulates. It grows over time. The ability of being quiet and still in the mind-body when stuff happens in everyday life. That's one description of the Alexander technique, how to be okay with yourself without stressing out in the mind and body, the neck and face and jaw and back and legs and hips, to maintain a level of freedom in the face of life's challenges. It's really a way of just recovering what you are anyway, coming back home. And this is really just coming back home. Right now you're back home in a condition of ease. Now in a second, I'm going to get you off the table. And what I want from you is to let me move you. I'll lift up your head and then you're going to move yourself this way until your legs are over the side of the table. But I'll help you with your head. So you roll onto your left. That's it. Keep on going. Feet over the side. Perfect. Yeah. And then help yourself off the table with your hands and wait there for a while. Yeah. And then walk to the chair, walk to the stool. And then bend your knees. Fine. And then stand up again. Yeah, bend the knees. Fine. Okay. And then again, stand up with your heels, and then walk once more to the mirror and back again, and then come back and sit in this stool. Good.
Thank you very much. I do feel that I have the feeling that this muscle is very short.
Yes, most people have very short Achilles. It's very normal, and over
because
time.
Because of lack of practice, or?
Well, depends how many days you've worn high heels for. No, but it's quite normal. We do shorten in the back, we shorten in the neck, we shorten in the spine, we shorten in the hamstrings, we shorten all the way down to the Achilles. It's very normal. And often people report after some Alexander work that the back lengthens and the whole structure releases and you get more connection of heels going towards the ground. But stress always pulls us away from the ground. It pulls the heels off the ground. And you'll find after a while that the heels naturally gravitate towards the ground. You'll feel more grounded. And that affects the structure. It'll affect your Achilles, it'll affect your neck, it'll affect all the way down your spine. But you're right. We do get quite short in the back of the legs. It's normal. Good, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Anything you want to share, report?
No, I mean that was the only.
Yes, it's a good thing to be aware of.
I definitely feel straighten up, like my posture definitely changed.
It has, but you're not fighting and trying to make it.
No.
And that's I want to leave you with that you are more upright. It's true, you are more poised. You have you could say a more upright posture, but you're not doing sit up straight, young lady, and that's really important. So when you go out of here, although you have this condition, don't try and recreate it through effort. If you want to recreate anything, do lying down, but don't try and don't do any posture stuff, and allow things to unfold. And if you're having a series of lessons, this natural postural lift will recover itself without effort, and that's the real postural lift. It isn't sit up straight, shoulders back. It's much more about this natural condition of ease and uplift which you have right now.
Thank you.
So thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.